Data from the Center for Housing Policy shows that even so-called white-collar employees can't afford the rent prices in many major cities. Examples from the data include a receptionist, bank teller, and an urban planner, none of whom get paid enough to cover the cost of the average rent in places like Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles. These jobs are what most people would consider middle class, yet the median salary of workers in those industries is too low to qualify for a one-bedroom apartment in metropolitan areas, let alone a two-bedroom for a small family. At $30,000 a year or less, these salaries just don't cover today's expenses, and they certainly don't provide enough income to pay off the college loans that these positions now require. It's not just fast food employees and low-wage workers who need a raise. Most of our middle class does as well. After accounting for inflation, workers today make less than they did in 1968. We may be the richest country in the world, but our workforce is not sharing in any of that wealth. In the best of the rest of the news, the White House is getting a little more green. President Obama announced back in 2010 that he would put solar panels back in the White House, and they are finally getting installed. President Jimmy Carter first installed solar panels back in the 1970s, but Ronald Reagan called them a joke and took them down. Bill McKibben, the leader of 350.org, said, "No one should ever have taken down the panels, but it's very good to know that once again the country's most powerful address will be drawing some of that power from the sun." According to a White House official, the panels are part of an energy retrofit that will improve the overall energy efficiency of the building. It's not clear how much power these new panels will provide, but they will help demonstrate that older buildings can be energy efficient. Our nation still has a long way to go to make the switch to green energy, but our commander-in-chief is taking another small step toward a cleaner future. North Carolina's new voter suppression laws are being called the most deplorable in the nation, and we're finding out that they're even worse than we thought. According to a new report from the state newspaper, the new voter suppression laws will make it nearly impossible for college students to vote. In addition to drastically cutting early voting hours and rejecting college IDs to vote, the new bill will force 9,300 voters to use one small precinct that has only 35 parking spots. Many of those 9,300 voters are college students who previously voted on campus. Those college polling places have now been eliminated. College students have a tendency to vote Democratic, so North Carolina Republicans want to keep them away from the polls. Several lawsuits have been filed to block these voter suppression laws, and students in North Carolina are hoping these legal efforts succeed. And finally, a 9/11 operator in Kent, Washington, saved the wedding of one very thankful woman. A soon-to-be bride was packed up in her car on her way to get married, loaded in her wedding dress, went inside to get a few more things, but when she came back out, her dress was gone. So she called 911 to report the theft. Candace, the 911 operator who took the call, was married just 18 months earlier and asked the caller when the wedding was scheduled, and the frantic woman sadly said today. So, with the approval of her supervisor, Candace offered the woman her wedding dress, and the woman gratefully accepted. Her supervisor said, "Candace is an extraordinary person. She had something someone else needed, and she made it happen." She definitely saved one woman's special day and fulfilled the something borrowed tradition in a totally unique way. And that's the way it is today, Friday, August 16th, 2013. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program.
Welcome back to the third hour of our program. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Here on the place where smart people get their news. Yeah, it's Anything Goes Summer, and of course Anything Goes Friday, so whatever you want to talk about. Mark Taylor-Canfield, however, has a quick update on what's going on with the Occupy Wall Street National Gathering next week. Do I have that right, Mark?
Yes, it's August 21st through the 25th in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which I guess used to be the heartland. used to be the heartland of our industrial society, but
That's where Kellogg's is located. It's where Kellogg's is. It's the world headquarters of
Really?
Kellogg's is Kalamazoo. I'm pretty sure.
But I am aware that due to the trade agreements, a lot of those jobs are now overseas.
Yeah.
But yeah, if folks want more information, it's the second annual Occupy National Gathering, and they did choose Kalamazoo because of the major financial crisis that a lot of the cities are going through, where they're basically being managed by financial managers now.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to occupynationalgathering.net, you can get more information on that. And I'm actually going to be doing a webinar teaching on press freedom and new journalism. So you can get information about all those events at interoccupy.net, which is INTER occupy.net. And you can find more about the teach-ins and the international press briefing that's going to be happening next week as well, where a bunch of folks from around the world are going to get together on an international basis and talk about what's been going on, not only in this country, but all around the world, where people want to establish pro-democracy movements, anti-corruption pro-democracy, I guess is what I would call these movements. So that's what's going on, Tom.
Cool.
It's interesting because it's the second year now.
That's great. Mark, give us a shout when it's happening and when it's over, okay?
I will do that. I'll check in and give you a report.
Okay. Thanks a lot for the call. Mark Taylor-Canfield, you can follow his writings over at Huffington Post and other places all over the internet. Speaking of writings on the internet, dailycaller.com is, if not one of the largest mainstream conservative websites out there. And we've started, in the spirit of let's talk to the other side and let's have reasonable conversations without calling each other idiots, which I managed to do today. Anyhow, I was telling Louise about it during the break. I said, wow, it's the first time I've lost it in 6 years, I think. She said, well, there was that one time when you asked James Cameron when he went off on his anti-homosexual rant if he had a small penis. And I was like, yeah, that was 4 years ago, though. That's been a long time. In any case, over at the Daily Caller, dailycaller.com, they have a brand new column in their opinion section. It's called Liberally Yours, and it's me. So I wrote a column for them today saying, let's pass legislation letting the post office. You heard the pitch here. I gave it on the show on Wednesday. Let's let the post office offer secure encrypted email for a price. As a way of reviving the post office and providing a service that's not owned and controlled by corporate America. And one of their editors wrote a rebuttal, and I wrote a rebuttal to his rebuttal, and then he wrote a rebuttal to my rebuttal, which I wasn't expecting, but nonetheless, there it is. And now it's open for commentary. So if you want to support your local liberal, check out dailycaller.com.